All right. Well, you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Cool, cool. So, Dallas, you and I, as I've been wanting to say this for a while, repeated. This is not the first time we've been on each other's shows. We've been talking to each other for a while, and trying to make ourselves sound like seasoned veterans in this community.
Absolutely.
But um, I know early on, as we got to talking, I think we crossed paths pretty close to about the same timeline in the Discord with Project Catalyst, and kind of hit it off with. I want to say Phil K was the one that pointed me in your direction, or yours and mine, or however that happened.
Yeah.
There's a guy that's just been a really good facilitator for, hey, you should talk to this person or get involved with that. Big props to him and what he's been doing for staying very active in that community.
Yeah, I still hit him up for
Yeah,
leads and stuff like that. I've got a couple
that's
out of
cool.
him.
So, and speaking of leads, you're on fire, man. There are we're at 9 or 10 podcasts. This isn't new to you though, right? You've done podcasts before, or is this all
No,
new?
no.
Yeah.
This is so new that I don't know how successful I am. That's a weird thing. As I see some numbers rolling in, it feels like they're doing pretty good. I
Okay.
know that it's still small. I'm fairly certain it's doing pretty good, but I don't have like, I guess I see posts on Reddit and stuff like that that say, oh, my podcast got 20 downloads today. I can't believe it.
Okay.
And for me, that's a slow day. Um,
Gotcha.
you know what I mean? And, but not that it's blistering, but again, no previous podcast experience. I get compliments on being on the microphone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel completely awkward. And I guess I kind of knew a tiny bit about, it took me a month actually to get used to how I was going to do audio editing even.
Okay.
And so there was like a pause in between or from having the idea to finally doing an interview, because I'm
Yeah.
like, what's a workflow? What do I need to do? And then finally I got that figured out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, as of today, at this recording, I've just released a new episode with another guy from the Discord, Renee.
Yeah. And
And
Renee, I actually found that with my daughter. We were standing here. I was getting set up for this one. I'm like, okay, I got to see, kind of dialing it in because I did spend a good amount of time listening to your interview with Martin about the
mhm,
fiat to ADA. That's fantastic. I actually was cutting grass while I did that. So I will say your audio is good enough that I can put it on the earbuds and
nice.
listen above that. And that's fantastic because a lot of this, it's neat because you can see what's going on and okay, this is going to be our faces on this one. And you don't
Yeah.
have a proposal or anything sitting there. So I won't be showing off that.
No,
I'll probably cut and paste your logo. I'll cut and paste mine. We'll make that look kind of cool and sexy. But on top of that, there's people can just listen to what we're talking about. They can listen to what you're talking about. It's a lot easier to listen while you're driving because you're not distracted. So the podcast format is awesome. And
yeah.
I'll be honest, I saw the Fiat to Ada before and I saw that, a little bit of information, but I didn't get really into it yet. But when I got to listen for 45 minutes to an hour to having him talk about, and you could feel his passion, you could feel the information and really get to know about his project. That's it. That's the selling point.
That's the advantage of the long format podcast. And that is something I knew coming into podcasting. Even though I hadn't done it before, I
Okay.
tried to sort of learn about why I should or from whom. There's a marketer in the podcasting world named Pat Flynn,
Okay.
who he's kind of a big name in internet marketing. He's got
Okay.
books and he's got his own pretty successful YouTube channel and this sort of thing. And he's got a marketing based podcast. And as a marketer, he also has courses on how to do podcasting. And I didn't pay for those
Gotcha.
courses, but he's got lots of YouTube videos about podcasting, what the
Yeah.
advantages are. So it's very much less numbers, clicks, all those sort of KPIs than YouTube.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Okay.
easy to get 1,000 views on YouTube, but YouTube, having an hour and 17-minute long YouTube, like there's the retention rate is terrible, right?
Yes.
Unless it's
Yeah.
really something like, I don't know, Joe Rogan has a scientist on or something like that, right? Like some big
Yeah.
time thing. But everyone else, 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Whereas podcasting, people, they legitimately, the retention times are off the chart. So even with a newbie such as myself, I can hold a person's attention hopefully, for the better part of an hour with someone, even though I don't have a lot of experience or whatever. And so that's a known thing. And that's another reason why I deliberately try not to do too much video. Although I'm starting to get to the point where I'm going to do video in the background for stuff like this, but the deliverable is still a audio only, just because it makes for better connection between us,
right,
in talking. But other than that, like, that's a deliberate thing, and that's something I stole from Pat Flynn. So people can use
nothing
Pat
wrong
Flynn
with
as a
that.
resource.
And
yeah,
I think I'm used to YouTube because I can throw my cell phone up while I'm working, and I can let myself get distracted and just kind of see what's going on and continue working.
Yeah.
But for the audio side of it, as soon as I pick that phone up and I move, if I turn YouTube off, the whole broadcast goes away. I can't turn my phone off. It has to be working, and it's a touchscreen phone, and I haven't figured out how to lock the screen, or I think there's other programs to move a YouTube, but it's like, man, I want to listen, I want to pay attention, but I also want to go to the bathroom. So how do you break away, or how do you do things with that format? So that's why I love seeing this. And Peter Bowie, I listened to that whole thing top to bottom, and that was great. I'd like to.
He was enlightening for me as well.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you, where, like, if I say I have a YouTube channel, it's on YouTube. You say you have a podcast. Where does that exist? Because I think I'm using Buzzsprout.com as one spot where I found most of them, but you're in Apple, you're in other places.
Well, and that's what I stole.
Comments.
Yeah, that's what I stole from. Again, Pat Flynn has like 2-level courses. They're like expensive. Like it's like $800 for level 1, $800 for level 2. I'm sure they make you like a total ninja, but I wasn't willing to spend 1,600 American. There is a little bit of a thing there when you're so hesitant to, like, oh God, how do I do it? Because, like, I'm on the microphone, I got my face over here, I'm like bald and gray and stuff, and I just coming off night shift. I'm sure I look only half as attractive as I truly am. But, so you have all those insecurities, and you try to compensate for it by, like, sort of over studying ahead of time and not actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly guilty of that, but I wasn't willing to pay that kind of money. So I don't want to, like, disparage Pat Flynn, but hell no, I'm not doing that. But he still has, like, playlists of, like, free stuff essentially. And he has sponsors on his own podcast, and Buzzsprout is a sponsor. There's the recording service I use, isn't the one that he recommends, but it's an alternative to that one that I just Googled, because it's a little bit cheaper or whatever. So what happens with podcasting is I kind of have the central service, Buzzsprout, and it, within that's where I do my uploading to. And then it essentially, backdoors itself into all the little podcasting services. You still have to sort of set it up. But that way I only really upload to one spot, and then it sends an RSS feed to Google Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher. And I don't know. I'm essentially in about 8 main ones that I bothered to set myself up for, but it has a bunch more available still.
Okay. But so similar to the video stuff. Yeah. If I want to get a hold of you, though, what's your home base? Because you made a comment about making comments, and unless I'm just not that savvy at it, how do I make comments on a podcast?
Yeah, what was it? Leave your hate in the comments or something like that.
Yeah,
I think was the joke I was trying to make.
Was that totally? Did I get played?
Well, no, I can check comments, but I have to log into each account to figure out where the comments are and stuff like that. So they don't seem to come back. I don't see them at Buzzsprout, and I only have, like, an aggregate of my KPIs and stuff like that at Buzzsprout, like views per day and stuff like that. If I want to see, like, my subscribers at Google are more than my subscribers at Spotify, right? So each one of those services has their own little analytics page, dashboard, and that's one knock on the podcast industry in general is, YouTube analytics is science, right? They have it all broken down, like, oh my God, podcasting is kind of really terrible in that sense. And I guess I don't really want to admit in front of everyone that I'm lazy, but I'm pretty lazy and I don't check. I really just am like, I've got editing. I've got an episode that I'm editing right now. I've just published one. I've got to line up 2 or 3 more interviews tonight. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of workflow that I'm doing. So I don't really I do obsess over my daily numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because it's so
I
easy
still
to
check
check.
mine all the time. I know that's like you're supposed to just let it go and let it
Yeah.
grow. I don't want to. I
Yeah.
want to see what the numbers are. I want to see how long somebody stayed. I love numbers like that. And I go, man, this
Yeah.
is cool. This is fun. But I also the content itself is the important part, and that's what's great, and that's why I love seeing what you're doing already.
Yeah.
And I like being a part of it right now too, because I can say, hey, how's Dallas doing? What are you up to? Where are you at with everything? So
Let me plug because you brought up content. Let me sort of plug an upcoming episode. One of the inspirations for my style of podcast, or not style, but the reason I wanted to take the tone that I'm trying to take of having conversations about what's important, and discovering between people what we think is important, and therefore how we may move towards that. That's kind of the overall essence of what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
All of that was inspired from one of my favorite authors, a guy named Peter Block.
Okay.
And so in the idea of coming up with a podcast, I was like, you know what? No one in the Cardano space is having these Peter Block type conversations, right?
Okay.
Everyone, I mean, they sort of are. Charles Hoskinson is trying to, right, with his TED Talks and stuff like that, right? And people sort of talk about it, but the media itself is a lot more. Here's where I think the price of ADA is going. Here's the situation of altcoins in the space. And at first I really rallied against that, but then I realized that is what's important if you have $250,000 worth of ADA. You know what I mean? So it's important. It's not important if you're super rich, and it's not important if you don't have much in it. But if you have a lot in it, then that is why that's important. But anyways, no one's having that conversation, and I am beside myself because I just reached out to Peter. I was like, hey, this is my podcast. This is why I'm doing it. And I didn't even really suck up that much. Like, oh my God, you inspired me, and now I'm doing it, and everything's going. But I did sort of like, I mean, I called it Cardano Citizen, and the interpretation of what it means to be a citizen and to belong to a community, I've stolen directly from him. Right. So I was already sort of speaking his language, and he agreed. He agreed to come on the show.
You got him. That's the person that inspired you. You're already there.
He's the one I interviewed. He's the one I'm editing right now. I just finished the sort of audio portion, and now I got to do my little jokes and music and goofy stuff around it. And it'll be uploaded by the end of the weekend. And then it'll be scheduled for release next week. So I've got, you know what I mean? Like I've had my own Mount Rushmore type guy be on the show already. So that's
going to be one of my questions for you, Dallas. How are you going to measure success? Like what's going to be your, I did it and you already did it. Are you done then?
Like in a sense, it's kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
Success for me is continuation of doing it, because it's just this volunteer thing that I do from, like, this is my house, obviously. I work a demanding job with a schedule that always changes. It's not a monetized thing. It's you always got to want to keep that in mind, but it's not turning this into a $5,000 a month thing is not realistic. Like, I have no product, you know what I mean? I have a platform with some viewers and stuff like that, but there's no product behind me to sell. Like, buy these brain force pills or something, you know what I mean? It's not I don't have a thing, right? So that's not going to be monetizable like that. So success,
or you just want to keep it clean like that? You want to keep everything available for your own thought process, or do you have are you feeling that buzz to keep moving forward, or you just happy right now? And I know this is the first couple of months. This isn't a year from now, but
it's literally not even 2 months yet. It'll be 2 months on the 11th. I mean, money's money, right? You got to try to keep that in mind in terms of, like, I am spending a certain amount in subscriptions and stuff like that. My microphone was $100, but that's expenses that I can do, as long as I keep working and stuff. But I am sort of looking for sponsorships and stuff. Once I have a vague idea of where my numbers need to be before I can start really saying, hey, I got this many viewers, man. Like let's talk, and I'll do business. But at that point, I also know, like, before I'm getting, say, 1,000 downloads per episode, it's kind of moot. And even then, I don't know what I can squeeze. But for example, like I know the Swarm sessions could use a premium Zoom account so that they can have proper breakout sessions that aren't all awkward and stupid. And
I've seen a few call outs that people have that and they're working on it, but
I don't have the clout to like say like, hey, I need corporate. Hey, you guys, can you guys hook us up? I don't have that. I would like to be in that sort of place where I can start doing stuff like that, knocking on doors and say, hey, I know somebody in need. And then, people can do a shout out and a mention or something like that. I'm sure I am in the game for that. But again, I'm so small, and I do have a fan base that knows the show and they all like it. So that's cool. But I again, people who are willing to spend money on sponsorships are looking for certain numbers, I think.
Well, and it's just about growth, right? Like that's your mantra, right? How can we grow together? What can we grow? How do you say it? Say it for me.
It's more about, and again, totally stolen from Peter Block. So tune into his episode coming up. But what do we want to build together? So Peter's methodology of getting into groups and stuff like that and dealing with communities is really getting in and having sort of difficult conversations more based around your own responsibility and sovereignty. So not so much like, what are these politicians going to do? And what is the cops going to do? And what are other people going to do to make this place a good place? It's more like, what commitment are you willing to make, even if there's no payoff? What are you currently saying yes to that you'd rather be saying no to? Things that sometimes don't even always sound the same. Again, he's got 3 or 4 books. It turns out he's writing another one. So there's a whole small library of content there with how he operates.
Awesome.
But yeah,
we had a guy down here about 1960s named Kennedy who had a line similar to that. What you can do for your country or for your community, not what the community is going to do for you. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, certainly. And it's that same type of ethic that appeals to me. And then again, that conversation is not happening very much in crypto. It's all because of the speculative monster, the speculative elephant in the room of will this take off like Bitcoin or something that kind of tugs at all of us. Right.
I was just listening to Burry today making a really great reference, or I think it was Burry, but the idea that crypto is not it's not a currency, it's an asset. Otherwise you wouldn't be paying taxes on it when you make a sale. It's a current. People need to make that separation mentally and call it what it really is, which it's an asset. It's something that holds value when you talk about the coin itself, but the asset of the thousands of people that are just on the discard part, or when Dor talks about 20 some odd, I think there are 25,000, maybe the number's higher. I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's a lot of people that are invested in mentally, physically, and idealistically Cardano and Project Catalyst and everything. And that just doesn't happen on its own. There's some serious growth to that. And that's fantastic.
Yeah. There's asset classes. And then there's like from a marketing standpoint, which is a little bit of a detached type of way to look at it. It's a movement.
Yeah.
Right. And even Peter recognized it, although he's not super into crypto and is not a crypto bro or anything by that means. Right. But he recognizes the yearning for sovereignty. Right. Everyone sort of has that instinct, especially lately. Maybe it feels more amplified lately or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But sovereignty over your own prosperity, right, is something that universally appeals to every crypto bro. Even those of us who think that, people like myself, they're a little bit gatekeepery and it's not all about price and, whatever stuff I tell myself. Right. So, again, it was all about trying to have those conversations and also help myself rewire my brain from being the guy who's always trying to point the finger and say, well, it's this policy and that policy and this. Like, yeah, well, okay, but what am I willing to do? Right. And so far, this is what I'm willing to do. Put my face out there and and be set up with my my nice set and stuff like that
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah. There's a lot of focus on what's behind me and you kind of think through it all and, what's your image? What's your
I want to
image?
put a fern here and a fern there, like Zach Galifianakis, and just have 2 ferns and 2 seats.
That is that is a very funny movie. I tried convincing
Yeah.
the fiance it was funny, but she didn't agree so much while we were watching it. It's hilarious. I love
Not
that.
all content is for all people. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, well, hey, so Dallas, I'm thinking in my head, and where you're at right now, and all the funds are kind of slowing down, and I think it's good because it's made. From what I understand from the outside, when I'm talking about funds, Project Catalyst and Fund 4, Fund 5, and the people that you're communicating with and researching are all heavily invested in the Project Catalyst world. Everything's on pause right now. I even put out. I was practicing my clickbait videos, so I put one out that said Fund 6 is starting, and then soon. So, I mean, it's like a 1-minute blurb. I was trying to do the YouTube short thing, and that didn't work out so well for me because I realized that can only be done on a mobile phone. Hey, we're all learning.
Do the shocked reaction.
Yeah.
And red letters yellow letters and red arrows. So red arrows with a shock, and then get your eyes bulging out with a liquefy tool in Photoshop, and just the real surprised look, and then just plaster that everywhere, and you're pointing at like $10,000 question mark. Yeah, get those in, and you'll start gaming the algorithm. I cut you off.
Yeah, I think I did the eye roll thumbnail, but I left the screen title on the bottom, said Fund 6 is starting soon, and it is at some point.
Yeah.
And that's, so you're kind of in that market for that, is maybe Fund 6 matches up for you as you get to talking to more people who are thinking about it and understanding what everyone else in their markets are doing it. You're throwing out a few different dollar signs that you're not willing to personally pony up. But if the community looks at, hey, I think the Cardano Citizen can bring a lot of value to the world, but I know that you need help in getting that training. So, hey, if it's $800 to get you through this course, and it's $600 to do this service or whatever it is, you can write that down and say, okay, I'm going to put a proposal together that might work out for that. I need a couple people in marketing. And it sounds like with Martin, that's a good one. He's a marketer that may be able to help you out. So as you're building your team, you're getting to that point where you may want to build that. So while this isn't exactly the elevator pitch, campaign that I'm doing to try and help people that have active proposals, I look to you also and say, I know you're always looking for people. Are you specifically looking for people, or are you waiting for someone to come to you and say, I want to be on your show? What's your current take on that?
I hustle for people. We've mentioned Martin's podcast. It's one of the latest releases I just did. He was another lead from Phil.
Okay.
And I like to sort of comb through the proposals, see what I find interesting. Again, not so much just indiscriminately giving everyone a voice. I'm sure there's a space for that, and for elevator pitches, there's something good at that. But I'm going long form. My format doesn't lend itself to that. So it's kind of like, by having you on my show, it's a type of endorsement.
Yeah.
Right. So even though I don't reach 10 trillion people, but it's a type of endorsement. So to have you on there, it kind of has to already be interesting or something. That's why Peter Buey, I thought his thing was brilliant. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of traction. I don't believe, right. And stuff like that, just compared to looking at it on idea scale. But that's something that I resonate with. There's other great proposals that I'm like, I'm not into it. There's this dude that wants to do a commercial. It sounds like he's totally would be able to do it. It's probably brilliant. Yeah. Not to disparage the guy if he would ever be watching, but I'm not into it. You know what I'm saying? And there's another guy that was doing a music one. I'm not into it. Martin's thing, totally into it. Peter Buey's thing, totally into it. Yeah. So there's a bit of a preference, a way for me to be an influencer. It's we have this view of influencers with people with their taking selfies and behind a screenshot thing and like holding a product and
Right.
let me see what I can do with your product. But I have the ability to have conversations with people like Peter Block. I have an economist friend of Peter Block's who's an economist, PhD economist at the University of Alberta. Like literally, I could drive to his house.
Oh, wow.
And he's into blockchain, and he's into Africa, and he's into well-being metrics. He's a total unicorn. He's finally agreed to be on. I'm scheduling him tonight. He's a friend of Peter's. You know what I mean? So Peter opened up his Rolodex for me.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Totally brilliant. But anyways, I get to have conversations with people like that and possibly steer the conversation a little bit.
Yep.
You know, and that's, you asked earlier, what do I find as success, right? So for me, that's successful, being a type of or having an influential platform. Now monetizing that, and maybe someday approaching Catalyst for some help. You know, it'd be nice to maybe hire an editor at one point so I don't have to do editing or something like that. And as you scale a show, it does require a team and a that podcast guy whose name escapes me because I just came off night shifts. The marketing guy, he has, you know, content directors and multiple editors and blah, 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 blah. Right. But he's doing 20,000 things per show or whatever. So, that's the huge scale. I'm not really chasing that down that much, honestly. I would rather, if I'm going to have a proposal in Catalyst, it would probably be centered more around some type of cooperative type thing that's already going on with people that I've sort of made contact with. Like Anthony Stakowitz is a stake pool operator and in the Plutus Pioneers program. And he's a proposal mentor and stuff like this. And if he were to come up with something, or if I needed, if I had an idea, I do have an idea. I think that smart contracts could replace Patreon like that.
Yeah.
But I need someone to do the thing, right? And then the most I could do is just say, hey, everyone, smart contracts could replace Patreon like that for cheaper. You know what I mean? And so that's the type of proposal I'd be willing to maybe try to get behind or bring to the community for voting, versus, hey, I want a super awesome $600 mixer. Although, I mean, those things are cool, but
well, right now you're building your community. You're doing a great job. I think you're doing an amazing job for Cardano as a whole. You're doing a lot of work for everybody, putting your information out there, and it's genuine. The fact that you can pick and choose what you want to do, that's genuine, and you're putting your pieces and your tools, the things that you can afford. I think my mic was $35 or $39 or something. You know,
mine is supposed to be that much, but I'm in Canada, and so everything's three times as much. Yeah.
But yeah, everything, you know, what can I do to make this work? I'm having fun with this. This is a great little hobby. I'm learning, I'm educating myself. You know, I've got 3 tenants that have grown in the last few months that I'm big time into this decentralization. It needs to happen. You know, we talked about silver market. And amazingly, it's still the same as it was when we talked a couple months ago. It's not that amazing, but that's, you know, that'll be
I heard an advertisement on the radio the other day for silver, and I was like, what the hell? Ken would be over the moon about, you know what I mean? Somebody was, I think it was buying silver or something.
The premiums are still ungodly. You still can't touch it. It's there. Yeah. It's like, man, I even right there, I'm offering those little Cardano ADA coins that you see pictures of. I'm pretty sure that they're fabricated now. I don't think they actually exist. I've seen that there's some metal ones, but I'm trying to find a 999 silver crowned for that. And I'll trade a silver eagle, and I actually I've got a half, a quarter, and a dime. I'm willing to give extra and pay for postage. If someone can get me a 999 ADA coin, I want to carry that in my pocket, and I'm willing to give up extras. It's free silver. If someone
that
sees our thing can put that together, they're sitting.
That sounds like you need to find a goldsmith and give them your
right here.
I think you're gonna need to find a goldsmith and then commission a piece. It sounds like
they exist. That's the thing. Like their coins.
Oh, you've legit seen?
I've seen it. I've seen it on the internet, and if it's on the internet, it's real. So of course,
absolutely. I believe you too.
But yeah, no, there's a lot going on. And I get up at 7:30. I have to be at work at 7:30. I get up at 3:50 in the morning now so I can be in front of this computer at 4 o'clock. And that gives me 3 hours of education.
Wow.
The decentralization's big. Next to
Yeah.
it, that's a stake pool. It will be. That's a Raspberry Pi stake pool. I'm
Wow.
working on getting the relay up. I'm working my way through the ADA Pi guys. Fantastic crew. Those guys are amazing. I think it was like a Friday night, and Well was on with me. Just, hey, no, do this, do this. Well, I need to learn Linux. I don't know Linux that well, so I have to learn that. I'm working towards learning that because I feel it needs to happen. It needs to be understood. It needs to be there. I'm an artist. I do a lot of oil paintings. I want to do NFTs. I can't just. I could learn how to do it myself, so I'm doing that, and that's my education part. You just met one of my kids who stood in front of the camera. They're the reason I'm doing this. It's that I need to educate them. I need to teach them. I need to make this world better for them instead of just apologizing for the crap show we're handing off to them. So this is
Personal,
on YouTube, so I don't want
sovereignty.
to drop the S-bomb.
Yeah.
So
on my show, you're free to drop all the S-bombs you want. No, it sounds like personal sovereignty, right?
Yeah,
I need to teach my kids the sovereignty. Is. I need to teach myself my own sovereignty and try to bring myself back from the brink of excusing myself for non-participation and that type of thing. So and again, that's why Cardano so easily ignites into a movement as compared to many other projects that ignite because of speculative potential.
Yep.
Right. Or it's what keeps people coming back to. I'll probably hit you up for some SPO leads.
What's that?
I'll probably hit you up for some SPO leads. I haven't really interviewed a stake pool operator based on like a heavy duty into the stake pool game.
Yeah.
Right. I've had a couple of people that are, Anthony's an operator, but we didn't talk about it much.
Yeah.
So I was thinking today, like, you know what, I should get with those SPO channels and stuff like that. I'm not really in those that much.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to be that very unique. I'm going from being a fire chief to a stake pool operator. Okay. I've always been a GUI, I'm always doing that graphic user interface, whether it's Microsoft. I don't even like Apple. But now I'm going back to command line interface and trying to learn and understand and I've got a sheet of paper on my drafting table here that I've just scribbled notes on. It looks like freaking conspiracy theory upside down here. Somebody walks in, they're going to go, okay, Kenny's lost his mind. This is great. Here's all the evidence I need.
A bunch of strings from different kernels to different tar.gz files.
You can see these walls, but not those.
Just you and a bunch of cigarettes in an ashtray, just half unwound. Yeah.
Man. Well, Dallas, I hate to cut it short, but this might be the easiest one for me to edit because this is a natural conversation. There's not going to be the cut and paste.
Yeah. I just request the bug-eyed thing on. Yeah, do that one right there. Hold on, freeze for capture, and we'll do that one with the yellow lettering and a red arrow.
Okay,
and a bunch of question marks and exclamation
points. That'll be the
points.
thumbnail for this show.
Just clickbait the hell out of it.
Yeah.
He said, "What about Elon?" I don't know. Just clickbait the living hell out of it. If you think it's too much, it's not enough.
It's not enough. I knew you were going to go there. That's great. I like you.
All right, sir. It's been awesome, and I look forward to your success.
Let's do the high five. You ready?
What are you talking about, man?
Can you see me? There you go.
Yeah, but we're on like opposite sides of the earth.
That's this side.
Yeah, we have to go this way.
I'm here. You're there. All right.
I can do my left. I think you got to switch.
We're gonna go on 3. 1, 2, 3.
We're doing the opposite side of the screen.
I don't know. We'll see. I haven't got it yet. I did one with 3 people once.
Oh, that one. The one with your tattoo on your arm. Yeah. The Q tattoo. Is that Q tattoo?
That's Yeah,
the Q tattoo arm.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ka-cha. Ka-cha. Close. Right side of the earth. We got the right side of the earth. There we go.
All right, sir. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Thank you very much.